Hi, fellas. We're here at the beautiful premises of Café Nona, which is the new scene of the National Theatre. And we're here with the New Zealand's queen of drum and bass, Emma Green. Although you're newlywed, right? So it's Herweijer. How would you pronounce your surname now?
Yes. Well, my married surname is Herweijer.
Are you keeping your...
I'm pretty torn, actually. It's difficult because obviously everyone knows me as Emma Green or Emma G or Little Miss Green from back when I first started DJing. But yeah, Emma Herweijer is my official married name. But so all of my documentation is still in Green. So I kind of call myself Emma Herweijer Green to try.
That's great. That sounds amazing. So how's it going? How was your set today?
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, it was so good. Yeah.
It was at a pretty unusual space. How do you like Zlomená scéna and Prague?
It's super unique. Like Tali and I have played Prague a few times. Every time's been a different setup, and so every time we meet all these amazing new people and play with different people. But tonight it was amazing to see the view.
You played at Cross Club, I think?
Yeah, I played at Cross Club. Yeah, and also...
Any other venues? Storm?
No, actually 2 times at Cross Club, but in different places. So one downstairs and one upstairs at Cross Club.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So this is my 3rd time playing in Prague.
Have you had a chance to see the city? I mean...
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. It was such a nice day today. The sun came out for us. We landed, it was a bit grey. Then we started driving through the city, and then the sun came out, and there's this really beautiful, golden light. And so we started getting some cool photographs and taking some Instagram shots for tonight. On the way to sound check, the light was, it was beautiful.
Perfect. So,
we love Prague.
The weather's been terrible, but
really?
That's great. I mean, the sun. There's this funny thing about, making an interview with you, because you do have a namesake who also does music, and she's also from New Zealand. Do you know that?
Oh, you mean the other Emma G?
Yeah, the other. I mean, I didn't know, but it makes it quite hard, to make proper research.
Yeah,
so if there's anything factually incorrect, you can let me know. But I can tell you, we tried our best. And you work in fashion, right?
I do, yeah.
Could you tell us more about it, or?
Yeah, so I studied.
The bass is getting really stronger, so sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I studied in fashion design. And the whole time I was studying fashion design, I was actually DJing, so I pretty much had this whole kind of DJ career, but meanwhile studying fashion design.
Awesome.
And so music was my first love, but when I went to uni, I studied fashion, had the kind of DJ career on the side back in New Zealand, and used to play at I'd play 3 to 4 gigs every week, and then be studying at uni to do my fashion design degree. And now many years later, I'm forging my fashion career. I've got my own company.
You got your own fashion line, right?
So yes, I do. I'm a sportswear designer, so I kind of found my forte in sportswear design. Worked for a number of different amazing brands, lots of different startups, and so the outfit Tali was wearing tonight was actually one of my designs.
Do you have a favorite garment?
I have lots of favorite garments. I mean, the one that Tali was wearing tonight is a pretty special one. But
okay, I mean a piece of clothing in general, not as in one piece of garment. But
I love a bodysuit.
A bodysuit.
So,
there you go. Have you designed it yourself?
This one I hadn't designed, but the one Tali is wearing.
All right. And it looked amazing. Check out the interview, by the way. Could you tell us how's switching from an office job to another job, but to DJing and partying all over the world? So you're kind of flying over New Zealand to UK, to Europe, or America.
So I guess when I was really young, when I first got into drum and bass when I was 15.
That's pretty early. Okay.
Yeah, started by buying records. I basically went to this party that my babysitter at the time had this party, and I was really young, and it was all this amazing music, and they were playing stuff like Omni Trio and Old School Jungle.
So what was your first record that you bought? It's a cliche,
yeah,
but...
so the first record I bought was Johnny L. Piper, the 10-inch.
Oh, right. Do you still have it?
Yeah, I do. And then I bought the remix that Groove Rider did, and I actually got Groove Rider to sign it back in New Zealand like many, many years ago. But
Do you still collect vinyl?
I collect integral vinyl now.
All right.
Actually, I have
that's great.
a huge collection of vinyl back home in New Zealand, but my husband has pretty much the exact same collection. So we've kind of got two collections, one in New Zealand, one in London. So we're pretty sorted.
Okay, I'm not gonna say that I'm jealous, but I am.
And loads of loads of white labels, like all the original like test presses and white labels as well.
Could you say that your work is your hobby at the moment? I mean, considering I'm not talking about DJing, I'm talking about the passion.
So I'd say like it's kind of like gone like that. So I've always sort of had like, you know, I studied as a fashion designer. I kind of came from a background where music was always my number one love, but I set out to forge a career in design because that was something I was really passionate about it. But still to this day, music's always been like my number one. And you know, 20 years on since. I don't want to tell my age here, but you know, I've always had DJing music on the side, and basically I moved to London, had this big kind of DJ career, also a fashion career, moved to London kind of for both. I was like, London's the place to be for fashion and for drum and bass really, because London's where, you know, UK is where it all kind of started. And then I...
Sounds like an ideal combination.
Yeah, it's a really, and it's always been like, they've always kind of worked together really nicely, and I've always had a nice balance with both. So, you know, day job in fashion and design, and then, you know, still doing the music thing. And I, you know, met with Zula and Glenn, you know, Glenn from AI is my husband now, but back...
I didn't want to go there, but yeah, there you go.
But back when, so we met many years ago in New Zealand, and Glenn and it was actually Zula who approached me and said, hey, you know, we've been running Integral for a while, sort of having a dip. We really need someone to come in who's really passionate to come and take the label to the next stage. So basically they approached me to come and like run the label. So I've been running Integral Records for about kind of like maybe 7 years or so. So doing that, and then also the Soulside session with Tali in sync, and then my fashion thing as well. So I've kind of like got this mix of like, and now I'm a freelancer, so freelance fashion design, then do my like mixing, my DJing with Tali.
Do you still work on the label or not?
Yeah. So
I thought you quit, but you're still doing it.
Sorry,
okay.
So I've been doing
we're gonna get into that, I think. So how is having drum and bass, and having like it's your hobby, like you said?
It's always been.
How is it having something that's that's been your hobby and you're making it your job?
Yeah.
So fashion probably wasn't your hobby first, but it was your job then your hobby.
I think what I would say is I'm doing everything that I love.
Okay.
So rather than looking at things as like jobs and hobbies, somehow I've managed to create this lifestyle where I'm doing fashion, which I love, and design, and then music, and then running the label, and it's all kind of intertwined. And so I'm pretty lucky, really. So
great. So what are you up to when you're not being a fashionista or when you're not spinning records? Do you have any like favorite sport? We've talked with Tali that she used to surf, being from New Zealand.
Well, I've just started getting into surfing actually.
Okay.
But I've always been
skateboarding.
The fashion fashion design that I do is actually in sportswear. So I've always been into like a bit of running. I like personal training. I love yoga. Kind of just love being active. I guess because I'm from New Zealand. So.
Perfect. I mean, it's probably like one of the best places to exercise, you know, with all the nature.
Yeah.
All right. Do you cook?
A little bit. Don't really have time for cooking, to be honest, with all the other stuff we're doing. I mean,
London, in terms of like cuisine and all the various cuisine is great.
We eat out a lot, basically.
Do you have a favorite cuisine? Like, where would you, if you want to go somewhere just for the food, where would you go?
I mean, I love Japanese food.
All right.
and I love Nobu. We just recently went to the new Nobu in Shoreditch, and we're actually going to Ibiza next weekend for bank holiday to go and stay at the Nobu Hotel and experience the cuisine out there.
Okay.
And I travel a lot. Like I love to travel. So yeah, we're always looking for, cuisine around.
So what do you do when you travel? Because I mean the flights are long.
Yeah.
20 hours. Do you read, or because we talked to Tali and she said she reads a lot as well?
I listen to music a lot actually.
You listen to music?
Yeah, mixture of like meditation on my Calm app and listening to music. Yeah.
All right. Do you have a like with all the traveling? Do you still have a favorite spot you would like to go for a getaway, or?
Well, my favorite spot in the world sounds kind of biased, but my favorite spot to be is New Zealand, Waiheke Island, which is where I got married. It's a really special place. I played some amazing drum and bass gigs there as well. It kind of has everything, and
sounds
it's
like a paradise.
And
to
it's
me.
right.
Yeah.
It's right in nature. Everywhere you go, you can see ocean and beach. So it's beautiful. They have the music scene. It's the Kiwi vibe. Yeah, it's amazing. You should go there.
I wish.
Everyone I say is Waiheke Island is literally the spot. Keep saying to Glenn one day we're definitely going to retire there.
Awesome. Perfect. What's your least favorite destination? Or a place? Airport.
I don't know. Yeah, probably airports. Yeah. I mean, I've been on some pretty dark work trips that kind of in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
All right.
I don't know. I like to focus on the good
on
trips.
the positives, yeah. I mean,
exactly.
I just maybe there's something you didn't like. But okay, to music. You were kind of dubbed the Queens of New Zealand's drum and bass scene, right? Who are the kings according to you?
Who are the kings?
Yeah, who are the kings? Upbeat, State of Mind, Craig.
Yeah. Well,
Who's it gonna be?
When I was first getting into it, I actually met up with Concord Dawn, who.
Okay, yeah.
So they, Evan from Concord Dawn, he went to school with my brother, and he came over to my house when I was at high school actually, and he gave me a CD of the first tracks before they'd even been signed or anything, and it was amazing. Yeah. So I've kind of followed them, and then obviously Upbeats, and there's so much amazing music coming out of New Zealand. I'm really proud actually.
That's yeah. I mean, it's great. But you kind of play a mixture of liquid and soulful drum and bass.
Yeah.
With the live side. I mean, yeah, we can talk about it later. But was Integral Records a big part of, or an influence in that, forming you? Because New Zealand's kind of with the rough nature and everything, the sound was kind of a bit harder than liquid and soulful.
I think how it all started was back in the day, when I was basically kind of underage actually to go clubbing, there used to be this night called Glide, and it was kind of pushing so it was Jeff from Samurai. He was him together with Subtronics, which was kind of the dons of promoting in drum and bass. They used to have this night called Glide. It was a deep liquid night, so they had all the big, harder nights going on, and they had this local night going on. And that kind of went for a while, and kind of things kind of fizzled out. And then one day I went down to Fubar, and I spoke to Dave from Subtronics, and he basically said, I'm looking for someone to do a new liquid night. And soon enough, me and a girlfriend at the time actually started the weekly drum and bass. It was monthly drum and bass liquid night there. So that was quite a few years ago, but we used to so we were pushing this local night, which is all kind of liquid, deep, soulful sounds, and they had lots of other nights going on, and they had lots of internationals coming through, but we would support the Calibers, the Docs, the Marcus Intellects, all the kind of people coming through. So we built this amazing night where we feel we converted a lot of people from house and other different electronic genres into our liquid night, because it was because the soulful drum and bass, it has all these elements.
It's got all the elements, influences.
Yeah, so because traditionally people be drum and bass are hard, Andy C, Andy C, amazing,
That's
wicked, but a certain sound. but we tried to push and educate, a more, a deeper sound.
Awesome. Amazing.
And that's kind of where I sort of started to form my sound as a DJ.
All right. I do have one question. You need to tell us, who the hell are Downwall? Are you part of Downwall?
Maybe.
Maybe. Oh. Okay, no.
If I told you, I'd have to kill you.
Ooh, I would die for that. I do have all the vinyls, so.
Do you?
Yeah.
Really? Oh,
but okay, jokes aside. So you still work for Intellect Records as a manager for a long time.
Yeah.
Could you? I do have a question about that. How did you guys choose the tracks for Intellect Records? Come on, it's terrible at this time of night, but I know that it can be a painful process going through thousands of tracks, maybe of questionable quality. Did you and Glenn fight about any tracks that you wanted to release? Yeah? Why?
I think at the end of the day, basically, so Integral Records is myself, Zula, and Glenn from AI. The three of us really need to all agree, and we need to basically decide this is a track that we want in our set, like we would play this in our set. And that's kind of, I guess, the benchmark. And we all feel quite similarly, so, and we're all very influenced by each other. Like, some people kind of joke that we sort of internally joke that I'm the third member of AI because I have such a,
Have you been, okay, have you been
No.
with them in the studio? No?
Not yet.
Not yet, but do you have this kind of urge to do that?
On and off, through, ever since I was...
It's been a while, so...
Yeah, so I've always wanted to produce, but because the whole design career thing, it kind of, music production takes years of honing your skills, and and it's not something to be taken lightly. So
you kind of had an ear for it already.
Yeah, but I've already, I've been making music for years, but I'm not confident enough yet to.
It took Kasra quite some time. So maybe there might be an emerging record.
I'd say watch the space because I'm in the process of getting that together.
Awesome. Could you tell us something about the Southside session?
Yeah.
It's a line of Bill mixes with Tali, right? With MC Tali, and it's a mixture of soul food and lush drum and bass, right? How do you prepare the track list, for example?
With great difficulty, and that's why we don't release them so often, because it's literally a labor of love, and I spend so much time curating and finding
Is it removing tracks, or do you have enough, or don't have enough?
I always have too many tracks. So, and it's then about whittling them down and making them all fit together really beautifully. And with Soulside, I try to, my style of mixing is to try and find tunes that seamlessly integrate to create a new tune, really. And there's nothing worse than hearing because we play really melodic music, so hearing this tune and then a tune in a completely different key, which you might be able to kind of EQ and technically work in the mix on a club night, but on a listening experience, sounds awful. So I'm trying to find these really seamless, beautiful blends where it all just kind of just melts into this journey. And it takes me a while, but I do everything live, so I mix everything live, and I, just spend hours going through tracks and checking mixes and stuff like that to find this thing. And it takes me a long time, and I really go over and over, and I do drafts, and when I've finally got the mix ready, I send it to Tali, and then she basically creates a whole bloody album of lyrics. Yeah,
you do have another, part of the mix, which is, a vocalist.
So she does.
Do you choose tracks that she would like?
Yeah, I try. Obviously, with our brand and our collaboration, the DJing side is very much me, but also obviously with keeping in mind not too many vocal tracks. Allowing Tali to do her thing, and I love it when she does the call and response. So if there's a vocal tune, I can almost hear her calling and responding to the lyrics in that track. And that's what
do you guys record together, or probably with all the traveling?
Well, I think when we do it, she's like on this side of the world, I'm on this side of the world. So we're kind of like talking, but I think what we have such an amazing respect for what each other does. So she 100% trusts me with the music, and that's, you know, I kind of own that part, and then she really owns like vocal side, and you know.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, you know, I feel really lucky to work, you know.
So you guys met 9 years ago.
Yeah.
I wanted to know or reflect on the fact that in the beginning there were probably not many female DJs producers.
No.
Has this changed, like chemistry or whatever, but has this changed for you throughout the years?
I mean, it's starting to change. The funny thing is, when I first started DJing, the whole kind of female element was not really a thing. Like, I wasn't like, oh, I'm going to be a female DJ. And with all my friends, like, no one ever everyone was sort of like even keel. It was almost like I was one of the guys. There was not that sort of gender thing. But as time's gone on and people have called it out and said, hey, well, why aren't there more female DJs? Why aren't there more people? When we got together, it was kind of this like random chance, but then we were sort of like, well, this is amazing. Like we really want to be pushing like women in drum and bass. And
I did have a follow-up to this, because probably not that pleasant of a topic, but do you think that was it easier for you to break into the scene because you were a woman?
No? It was really hard.
Was it harder? Do you think
one, because I was really young. And
how long were you?
Well, I was sort of like starting to mix like 15, 16, starting to go to these underage parties. Friends of mine were like trying to kind of say to promoters like, she's a wicked DJ, you should book her, and they're kind of like, no, she's just like some young girl. And I didn't get taken seriously for
people
years.
not focusing on your skill, but like, oh, they were kind of slating you that, oh, she's just getting gigs because she's a female.
Yeah, no, I never had that. It was more like I could never get part of the boys' club because I was female, but then I've never felt I've always felt a little bit of pressure to maybe to perform because I am female, but because I started so long ago when that wasn't really a thing, and no one sort of acknowledged that there weren't female DJs. It was kind of like just a thing, like there weren't that many, but no one was talking about it. Nowadays, you know, people are trying to do these like all female lineups, stuff like that. But for me, I just want to come like as a person. Like I think
that's the ideal
I think we need like more women in drum and bass, and I think what Tali and I bring is like amazing, you know, female duo. We try to like really push the female element, but at the same time, both of us we don't want to be rated as females. We want to be like one of the people, you know, one of the DJs, not the female DJs or the female artists. I think that's because I'm always a little bit like, I'd love to see like an all-female lineup, but I don't like to see it.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather just see lineups with more women on them, but not saying, oh, this is a female lineup, because at the end of the day, we're people. We're people, you know, you're a man, I'm a woman, but, you know, who's to say, oh, well, it's the female DJs here and the male DJs there. But we're still sort of trying to push that whole, you know, you see festival lineups with not many females on them, or, you know, and we start to notice, but I think it's slowly changing. But
it is, because I think if you might know, like, if you know Be Complex, if you know Changing Faces, it's kind of getting even harder for people who are, you know, not female males. They're kind of like, you know, in the LGBTQ community. That might be even more difficult.
I always feel like, you know, in terms of my success, it was more not because I was female. It was nothing to do with gender. It was more that actually I did my time. So when I first started mixing, started playing and was doing different gigs and stuff like that, when I started to get booked to play support for Marcus or Doc or something, I feel like it's because there was this old school mentality of like, she's really done her time. She's like actually, and it was more that.
Okay, are you guys planning something big you want to, tell us about? Is there anything? I do have a couple more questions after that, but is there anything you would like to tell us?
Well, I think, we did like a few gigs last November. Obviously it's difficult for us to get together because we're on other sides of the world, but it's quite exciting because we actually see each other more often than not now. So we did our last European tour in November, we're in May now, we're looking at doing another tour in October, then we're doing some gigs together in January in New Zealand, so we're going to do more stuff more regularly, I think.
That's awesome.
And then Soulside 10's obviously going to come out very soon.
Very soon. Okay,
we're looking at maybe doing some merch, and yeah, I think it's an exciting time for our brand. Like, we're really excited about it.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming to Prague.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure. And keep it up.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. They're not paying attention. They're talking like, yeah. Bye. Bye. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. We're done, yeah. We're done, yeah. We are done.